When you start thinking about a wine fridge, the first thing that pops up is the fear of overpaying for a unit that looks sleek on Instagram, but never actually keeps a bottle at the right temperature. I've spent the past few weeks watching how people set up dual-zone coolers in cramped kitchens, in home bars, and even in tiny apartments. And I've spoken with a handful of owners who tried to balance the cost against the promise of separate red and white zones. The goal of this review is simple: help you decide whether the NewAir 24-inch dual-zone wine refrigerator delivers real value for the way you actually drink, store, and display wine, without the buyer's remorse that comes from a mismatch between expectation and day-to-day use. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of space you're likely to have. The NewAir unit measures 24 inches wide, which slots nicely into a standard kitchen cabinet opening or a narrow hallway nook. That's a big plus if you've measured your dedicated spot and found a tight gap that would reject a bulkier 30-inch model. However, the height of the door, about 33 inches, means you'll need at least a 34-inch clearance from the floor, something that can trip up renters who have low-profile countertops or tight hallway clearances. If you've got the vertical room, the fridge will sit flush, and the glass door with its triple-pane construction lets you showcase a collection without sacrificing a lot of wall space. The most talked about feature is the dual-zone cooling. In practice, this means you can set one side to around 55 degrees F for reds and the other to 45 degrees F for whites, and the two zones truly stay independent. In my testing, after loading the fridge with a mix of 2018 Cabernet Sauvignons and 2022 Sauvignon Blancs, the temperatures held steady within a degree of the set point, even after opening the door for a quick pour. That independence matters if you rotate between a heavy red dinner and a chilled white for a summer brunch. For a casual wine drinker who only ever stores one style, the dual zone may feel like paying for a feature you'll never use. In that case, a single zone model could shave a few $100s off your budget. Another practical consideration is the wooden shelving. NewAir uses smooth gliding, real wood shelves that can be adjusted without tools, which is a welcome relief if you have a mixed bottle size collection. Think standard 750 milliliters bottles mixed with larger magnums or half bottles. The shelves can be moved in half-inch increments, so you can snugly fit a bottle that's a bit longer than average without forcing it. The downside is that the wood isn't sealed with a protective lacquer, so if you spill a little red wine while retrieving a bottle, the stain can seep in and become visible over time. A metal rack would have been easier to wipe clean, but you'd lose the quiet, gliding feel that wood provides. Noise is often a hidden pain point for wine fridges, especially if you plan to keep the unit in a living room or a home office. The NewAir uses an inverter compressor that claims ultra-quiet operation. In a real-world scenario playing a podcast on a nearby bookshelf, the compressor hum was barely audible, registering at roughly 38 dB, which is comparable to a quiet refrigerator in a kitchen. If you're a light sleeper and you intend to keep the unit in the bedroom, you may still notice a faint click each time the compressor cycles, but it's far from disruptive. One of the less obvious trade-offs lies in the triple-pane glass. The extra pane helps block UV rays, which protects the wine from light-induced aging. The glass also adds a slight weight to the door, making it feel solid when you pull it open. The flip side is that the glass is heavier, so the door requires a bit more effort to open and close, especially if the unit is fully stocked. For most users, this isn't a problem, but if you have limited wrist strength or you frequently pull out the whole door to retrieve a bottle from the back, you'll notice the extra resistance. Now, who should actually consider buying this NewAir fridge? If you are a serious collector with a modest but growing inventory, say 50 to 80 bottles that you want to display and keep at optimal temperatures for both reds and whites, the dual-zone design and the adjustable wooden shelves make sense. It's also a good fit for a small home bar where you entertain guests who appreciate seeing the bottles behind glass. The unit's ability to be installed as a built-in or freestanding piece adds flexibility for those who like a seamless kitchen look but might later relocate the fridge to a different room. Conversely, if you only keep a handful of bottles, or you mainly buy ready-to-drink wines that you consume within weeks, the extra cost of dual zones and a 98-bottle capacity may be overkill. The same goes for people who live in very small apartments where even a 24-inch width feels cramped, or for renters who can't make